Well, welcome everybody to NWA Tech Summit. Super excited to be here with Ciby Oommen, the Vice President of In-Club Technologies at Sam's Club, as well as Matt Lindsey, who is the Group Director of In-Club Product Management, also at Sam's Club. My name is Courtney Orch-Smith. I am the Program Manager for Fieldbook Studio, which is a venture building studio based in Bentonville. Our discussion will focus on Sam's Club new exit technology. But we'll also talk a little bit about Sam's Club's forward-thinking approach to technology and how you all use it to enhance both the lives of your associates and your club members. But before we jump in, Ciby, Matt, do y'all want to give a quick introduction to everybody in the room?
Yeah, absolutely. We're thrilled to be here, Courtney. And my name is Matt Lindsey. I lead the in-club product team at Sam's Club. So think of it in terms of anything that we do for our associates or for our members from a tech perspective. We have a small but mighty team that leads that charge, and we're really excited about the things that we're delivering.
Yeah, Ciby?
Morning, everybody. I'm actually Matt's counterpart on the engineering side. So I lead a group of engineers who handle everything in the physical retail inside the club. If you're familiar with retail, all the way from back room all to point of sale and everything in between. Hopefully we can touch on some of those topics today.
Yeah, Matt, I think our first question is for you. So you all, Sam's Club is a tech-powered organization. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So we hear that word a lot, people-led, tech-powered organization. And really at the core of it, what that means is that we believe that technology is driving innovation for our associates and for our members. And so when we look at technology as an enabler for our member experience inside of the club, we really feel like that's empowering those member experiences in many different ways. And we also know that technology inside of our clubs really streamlines those things that our associates are doing each and every day so they can focus on driving growth inside of the clubs. And so we believe that the future of retail is really just this powerful combination of physical stores and really innovative technology that's really driving that member experience to the next level. And so we're constantly thinking about new ways, new innovative ways to really drive that experience for our members inside of our clubs. And the ultimate goal for us is we want to reduce friction. We want to really drive that connection with our members. And the way that you do that is you remove the friction for our associates so they can better take care of our members. And while our members are shopping inside of our clubs, it allows for them to have that really great shopping experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm hearing you say is that Sam's Club is leveraging technology to enhance the experience for its members. Can you provide examples for how Sam's Club has done this and how you all have identified and addressed member pain points? Ciby, I'd actually love to start with you on this one.
Yeah, so sort of like what Matt said, every decision we make in Sam's Club is centered around our associates and the members, right? So for the members, we want to make sure that they get the best value for the money they spend with us. And at the same time, have an exceptional experience shopping with us. So there are plenty of examples. I'll pick one, and I'd like to kind of build on it because I think you'll get a sense of how much technology is weaved into what we try to do for our members. If you think about the best experience shopping, obviously online shopping is the most easiest and the best experience you can possibly have. But at the same time, you think about the members, they want to pick their own produce, they want to pick their own bread and the milk, right? You want to look at the expiry date, make sure you're picking one that lasts long enough. But the biggest problem with physical store shopping is the long checkout lines. You had to wait at the checkout to exit out of the building. So if you had asked our members 7 or 8 years ago, they would have complained about the same thing. And we took that to heart, and we built something called Scan and Go. If you're not familiar with Scan and Go, it's essentially an application that's part of the Sam's Club application itself. And you pick your items in a club, and you scan with Scan and Go, you pay on your phone, and exit out of the club. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, right? You have the ability to pick what you want, At the same time, you have the online experience of just paying on your phone and exiting the club. Now, this was 7 or 8 years ago. And a couple of years after that, COVID hit, and people weren't shopping inside the clubs, and we turned Scan and Go to become an application that was associate facing. And we built an application called Concierge Service. And the whole idea there was, if our members can't shop inside the club, let us shop for them and hand it out at the curbside, right? I don't know, Matt, if you remember this. I think it was right at the launch of Concierge Service, we were walking the parking lot trying to see how far the Wi-Fi was covering, right? And a member walks up to both of us, and she just wanted to thank us. I think she saw the badge that we were wearing, and she just came over to thank us for the concierge service, because she was a pediatric nurse, and she had an elderly mom she was taking care of. She couldn't afford to get sick, right? And this is what let her do that. And so if you think about what it means to our members, I thought that definitely said something. It meant a lot for that one member, obviously.
Yeah, that is such an incredible story. And I personally remember the Scan and Go introduction and how much of a game changer it was just for my shopping. I know, Matt, that's a hard story to follow up on, but is there a pain point that you would like to talk about that your team has solved for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ciby, you just did a great job of talking about how we're meeting the members, like we're meeting the member where their needs need to be met. And that concierge example was such a great example of this tech-powered organization that we have, and where we can be really nimble and standing things up really fast. Ciby talked to you about Scan and Go. We call it the best kept secret in the industry, and more of our members are starting to engage in that type of a shopping experience. And because we have enabled this convenience inside of our clubs, it makes it really easy for our members to shop. That pinch point moved from the registers, then it moved over to exit. And so let me kind of take you on a little bit of a journey. The club channel historically has been known to check your receipts when you leave the building, right? So you flash back to, call it 7, 8 years ago, members would leave the club, they had to show the associate at the exit their receipt, their paper receipt, and the associate would like cull through the members' items and dig in their baskets, and it became very uncomfortable at times. And then they would highlight the receipt, and the member would leave the building. We knew we had to innovate. We knew that was not sustainable. It was creating a ton of friction. So we launched the ability for our associates to scan a receipt, scan a couple items in the basket, and then they were able to leave the building, right? And then as our members continued to really adopt this convenience shopping experience that we have inside of our clubs, we leveraged our computer vision technology, Ciby, that we've been standing up all throughout our clubs, and we put it at exit. And simply how it works is you shop in the clubs. As soon as you transact, whether it's through the registers, whether it's through Scan and Go, you walk through the exit arches and you leave the building, and it's that easy. And so again, we're putting the member at the center of every decision that we make, and that's crucial for us as an organization. And so we just really are laser focused on being member obsessed. How do we continue to drive that convenience inside of the clubs for our members? And how do we meet them where their needs are? And this is another great example of the things that we're doing inside of the club.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I have been hearing a lot of words that you've said around people-led and member-focused. But Ciby, since I'm going to get back to you in a little bit and talk about the user experience, because that's a personal passion of mine. But Ciby, since we are at a tech summit, can you give us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain and talk a little bit how the technology actually works?
Yeah, so if you think about the exit experience, there are 4 things that we have to do, right? We have to identify a cart associated with a member. We have to identify all the items inside the cart. We have to match that with a receipt that has been paid for, and then say thank you for shopping with us, right? That's essentially the 4 things we have to do. For a human, it's very easy to do, right? As an individual, I could stand at the door and do all those 4 things, But what it does is now I have to stop the member. I have to ask the member to show me a receipt. I have to dig through the cart to look at the items. And obviously we'll not dig and look at every single item. So it basically slows the whole process down and it creates a long line, right? This was the problem we had to solve. And we had to solve by not stopping the member, not asking for the member to show a receipt, not asking them to identify who they are, and do all those 4 things. It was not easy, but we used computer vision to do this. So if you've been to a Sam's Club, you'll see that at the exit we've got an arch, and the arch actually has 3 cameras per lane. And we take videos as the members are walking through it. And we've used computer vision models that we've trained to identify a cart uniquely. And once a cart is identified, we have additional models that identify every single item that's in the basket, right? And all this is being done as they're walking through the arch. If we have a high enough confidence that we've perfectly identified this cart, we've identified the items in the cart, we've matched it to a receipt that has been paid for, and we feel confident enough, we notify the exit greeter that this cart is clear to go. And we do that with a quick snapshot at their handheld that they have at the exit. And all this has to happen within less than 4 seconds, right? Because that's about how much time we have between the member walking through the arch and getting up to the exit greeter. So do all this within less than 4 seconds, and by the time the member gets to the associate, they should be able to look at them and thank them for shopping with us and let them get through. Obviously, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. There's a lot of technology that's behind this. We've trained these models on millions of images of different items in different lighting conditions, different layouts. That is what makes the model that good, so that we can actually identify these regardless of how it's placed in the cart.
Yeah. That less than 4-second response time is just incredible. So congratulations to you and your team on that. Matt, as you know, my background is in user experience and user research. So I do have to come to you for a minute. What kind of feedback have you been hearing from both your members and your associates about this new exit technology?
Yeah, I mean, Ciby has talked about, it's just, the technology is amazing, and we have a team that is just doing a fantastic job of bringing this experience to life. Our associates and members are loving it. We continue to use this theme of reducing friction for our members inside of our clubs while they're shopping. And so it reduces the friction for the associate as they're interacting with the members as they're exiting the building, and the members love it as well. And I got to share this story with you because this is just a classic example of how our members are resonating with the technology that we're building. So we were touring a club, and we had a group of us that were standing at the exit door. And we always like to get that real life feedback from the associate. How is the technology working? Is there any glitches? Is there any bugs? Is there anything that you see that we need to look at and do differently? So we're constantly getting that feedback, right? We want to make sure that the technology can stand on its own. This member, he's walking towards the exit, and as we've trained our members, he was holding his phone out to have his QR code scanned, because he had used Scan and Go. And the associate at the exit was like, "Oh, sir, you're good to go. Thank you for shopping at Sam's." And he's like, "No, you don't understand." He's like, "You need to scan my QR code." And I think the member felt like the associate didn't know how to do her job. And the associate was like, "No, sir, really, you're good to go. We really appreciate you being here. We've launched this new technology that has made this an easier exit for you, or easy experience for you." And he was like, "You've got to be kidding me." And so he starts raising his voice, and he's like, "I can't believe this." And so he turns around, and his wife is at the cafe, right? So if you've ever been in a Sam's Club, you know where the exit is, you know where our cafes are at. He turns around and he yells, "Hey, Pam! Hey, Pam!" And he's like yelling at his wife, and his wife has like a pizza combo and a couple of drinks in her hand. So she comes running to the exit. She feels like something's like terribly wrong with her husband. And she walks up to the exit and he says, honey, they don't need to scan our phone anymore. They don't need to scan our receipt. And she like smacks him across the back, because she thought like he was in trouble or something like that. But that's just it. I think that story kind of encapsulates how our members are resonating with this experience that we're building, is that it's ultimately a more delightful shopping experience. It gives our associates the time to interact and engage. They love that part of their job the most, right? They love that interaction with the members. They don't want to make it transactional. They really want to drive this member experience while they're inside of our clubs and really, get to know members and engage with them at a higher level. And so what have we seen? We've seen our members are leaving the building 21% faster than what they were before. And we see upwards of about 65 to 66% of our members are getting a friction-free experience, which means when they leave the building, there's no interaction. The associate literally just tells the member, hey, thank you for shopping at Sam's, you're good to go. And so that's what we're hearing. That's the feedback that we're getting from our associates and our members, and we're going to continue to build on this experience.
Yeah, I love that combination of both, real life results, talking about like leaving the store faster, that friction-free experience, as well as the in-person feedback that you're actually getting from folks that makes everything come together really well. Ciby, I would love if you could speak a little bit to the significance of the tech and product partnership and how it's contributed to your team's ability to really rapidly scale the implementation of this exit technology.
I mean, it's pivotal to what we do in Sam's, right? Because everything that we do, only way you get the speed that we got is based on trust that we establish. So there has to be the trust between how we are solving the problems. Are we solving the right problems? Are we giving the best experience to our associates, to our members? You don't want to break that trust, because the moment you do, that's when the friction starts and then things start to get slow, right? And for us to make sure that we never do that, that relationship is so critical. But at Sam's, we think about more than just product and tech. We also think about the user experience, because that user experience can break or make what you build. And obviously our business partners, right? Because they're critical to make sure that we are rolling these things out. They're managing the change in the organization, because often these things change how we work. In some cases very subtly, in some cases massively. And unless you're managing those changes, it's very hard to roll that out, because that's where the friction starts. So all these 4 roles in Sam's, we call that as an experience team. So we have an experience team for every product. The products are aligned to business functions in the organization. And the sole purpose and the goal of this experience team is to make sure that whatever problems we solve are the right problems, we're solving it the right way, we're giving the best experience possible while never breaking the trust that we've established with our members and our associates.
That's amazing. So Matt, I know that your team has been really rapidly rolling this technology out. I know it's piloting in a small number of clubs, but I think you're expected to be in around 600 or so clubs by the end of the year. Can you talk a little bit about how exactly you're making that work?
Yeah, so Ciby just articulated very well just the secret sauce, which is experience teams, right? So we believe that we're the first ones to build this technology, this consumer-facing technology at scale. We believe we're the first ones to do that. And in addition to that, we believe we're the first ones to build this technology in-house with our own engineers. And so that experience team is so key and is so fundamental in how we bring these experiences to life. Mm-hmm. And it's everybody coming together to really ensure that we have solved the right problem with our members and ensuring that we're delivering on that promise. And so let me just kind of explain how we came to light with this. Within 4 months, we had a prototype built in one of our clubs. We were able to identify items and be able to scan, be able to exit the members pretty quickly. We then scaled to 10 clubs in 8 months. And since we launched this technology in January, we're in 85% of our clubs so far. And so we'll get to all of our clubs by the end of the year. But this is a journey, right? We want to make sure that we get it right. We want to make sure that we're continuing to iterate and work in that agile fashion that's really going to bring this experience to life. And so, it's that constant feedback from our members, constant feedback from our associates. Are we delivering on what they need? Are those problems that they experience, are they being solved? Are those things really, really manifesting themselves inside of our clubs? And that's how we go about it. So we're really excited that we're going to get this thing out to all the clubs by the end of the year. And, we'll just continue to make the experience better.
Yeah, and you all are using some of my favorite terms, talking about the right problems at the right time, making sure that you're iterating, using agile processes, so thank you for that. But this tech is truly a differentiator as well for Sam's Club. How crucial is it for you all when thinking about the future of Sam's Club that you prioritize innovation and look at innovation as a way to improve member and associate experiences for that future? Ciby, that was for you.
Yeah, so if you attended the previous session, Cyrus actually did an excellent job of talking about how the world is changing around us, right? It doesn't matter if we change or not, the world is changing around us. And what can happen is if you don't innovate, you'll get disrupted at some point, right? We see at an increasingly rapid rate, companies getting disrupted, products getting disrupted, and it's not something that you can just wake up one day and say, I want to do this, right? This is stuff that gets built over time. If you just look at the things that we did, Matt talked about how we prototyped something in 4 months, but it was based on foundations that we've invested on for 7, 8 years. You don't build up a group of data scientists who have incredible knowledge of how to train models of millions of images and create a really good computer vision model to work in 4 months, right? We've solved similar problems for our associates in the past. The context was different, the problem was different, but some of the foundational components were the same. Mm-hmm. This is the investment that we had made in the past to solve problems for our associates. We knew how to train models. We knew how to handle millions of images. We knew how to do cloud computing. We knew how to do edge computing to get the 4-second response time. These are not things that we just built in 4 months. This is the investment that we've done over the years, right? That kind of gives you the sense of why it is so important that you continue to invest in innovation, because there will be an opportunity that will show up. There will be a technology that will show up. And you have to be ready to take advantage of that. And without these investments that you do continuously, you won't have those building blocks. You won't have the giants whose shoulders you can stand on to go solve these new problems. So incredibly important.
Yeah, no, I love that whole evolution from scan and go to concierge to where you all are at right now. Matt, is there anything that you'd like to add here?
Yeah, I would just say, we continue to focus on delivering world-class experiences for our members, and that is our focus and our mission at Sam's. Is how do we drive that vision of people-led, tech-powered. Mm-hmm. And I just want to put this in perspective for just a minute. You can walk into a Sam's Club, you can open up your Sam's Club app, you can open up Scan and Go. Ciby has talked about that experience. But you can open up Scan and Go, you can scan your items in your own basket, and you can walk past the registers, you can swipe to pay, and you can leave the building in a frictionless experience. And that is something that we have brought to life inside of Sam's Club, and we're really proud of that. And it doesn't happen, to Civy's point, overnight. This is something that has been in the works for many, many years, and we're laser focused on continuing to put the member at the center of everything that we're doing. And so the way that we do that and the way that we're doubling down on that innovation and really bringing these experiences to life inside of our clubs is we just opened up a design center. So many of you may have heard about this, but right across the street from our club support building, we have a building, it's called the Clubhouse, and it's 37,000 square feet of space where we get to bring innovation and new technology to life and continue to iterate and ensure that we put design thinking behind these experiences that we want to solve. And so we are really excited about this innovation space in Clubhouse that's really going to help us continue to drive those innovative experiences to the next level. And so it's a first for us, it's dedicated space, and it's an opportunity for us to innovate and to be creative and to continue to collaborate amongst different groups inside of our organization to ensure that we're building the right things. And so I think this is just a good example of how this just illustrates our laser focus on continuing to build experiences for our members so that they keep coming back and shopping with us at Sam's Club.
Yeah. What a better way to illustrate your dedication to innovation than with a 37,000 square foot physical space designed specifically for that. Well, Matt, Ciby, thank you so much for your time. We do have time for Q&A. There are mics on either side of these rows. If you have a question for either Ciby or Matt, you can just jump up to one of those.
Yeah, so I'm Kim Chandler from Walmart. And I love this Just Go experience really. I think during the last 6 months in Sam's Club, I don't think there is ever a single time I can remember that I was stopped by the checkout person there to say, hey, what do you have? Or show me your receipt or anything. Question I have is really why Walmart store side of it really, why are they not leveraging really the technology that you have implemented? Is it not worth the juice really there to implement it on the Walmart side? And what is your take on that?
Cam, I don't know who planted you to ask that question. It's a very, very good question. And this is where I think the scale of the businesses and the opportunity that Sam's has is unique, right? Because if you think about the club model, we don't have the vast SKUs that Walmart has. Walmart has over 100,000 SKUs. We have about 5,000 in a given club, right? And everything is packaged well, everything is weighted, barcoded. There are no eaches, we don't sell eaches. We know every member who shops with us. So it creates a very unique situation for the club that we're able to take advantage of. There are pockets of what we have that probably could be used at the Walmart scale, but not completely. And I think that's the difference.
You have a question over here?
My name's Brett Berry. Sorry for my voice. I'm recovering. I had a question about, since you guys got the Just Go experience kind of how you wanted it. I'm sure there's still room that you guys are improving on. But my question is kind of where are you guys going to go from here with using computer vision and AI?
Yeah, I'll jump in here, Ciby, and then you can add some thoughts too. But it's a great question, and so we just opened up our Grapevine, Texas club a couple weeks ago, and for those of you who don't know, that was a club that got hit by a tornado a few years ago, and it caused a tremendous amount of damage to the club. So we just opened that club up 2 weeks ago, scan and go only, right? And so we have a club where we have no registers, and the point of me telling you that is that we're going to learn, right? We're going to learn how our members shop in that type of an environment, and what else is it that we can do from there. And so I think that's going to be a place for us to really drive a lot of innovation, a lot of technology that is going to help us inform, like, what is next? What are those things that we want to do for our members to even further that reducing of friction inside of our clubs?
I think, to Matt's point, one of the things we did learn was that even though we're providing this friction-free experience, what happens if we detect something in your basket that wasn't paid for? Mm-hmm. Now we have to stop you, right? And all of a sudden, the line's backing up. And so what we did is we identified that as a problem that we needed to solve. We needed to make it easier for the member to either choose to pay or not pay, We'll take the item if they don't want to buy it, or if they want to purchase it, make it easy enough so that they can do that rapidly, right? And so we just launched, and I think we're about to roll out to the chain this week, a mechanism by which the exit greeter can just transfer the items into Scan and Go for the associate, saying, we detected these items that were missed. Would you like to pay for it? And the member could just say, yes, pay, and they could walk out, right? It made it that simple.
Thank you.
Hey, I was going to ask something that really kind of goes towards what you just said about the loss prevention. What you guys are seeing today of how that really affects your guys' bottom line, and then what you guys are looking at in the future. I know you just said that you're looking at what was in the cart and how to kind of make that a frictionless experience. But what other innovations do you have around that?
I'll jump in. So we didn't really look at this from a loss perspective. That's not the goal. That's not the problem that we're solving. We're really looking at this from a member friction perspective. And so when we look at problems to solve inside of our clubs, we're putting the member at the center. And if we solve the problem through technology, is it solving that member friction? And that's the way that we view it, is we don't look at it from the standpoint of, are we losing product, or are we seeing an increase in shrinkage? Really, our focus is how do we drive that experience for our members? I think in terms of what's next, Grapevine Club is going to really inform what we do in the future. It's an innovation hub for us. We're going to have technology teams, Ciby, that are going to be sitting inside of that club, and they're going to really help us inform, like, what does that future look like? And from a computer vision perspective, we're looking at where else can we leverage that throughout the club. We've leveraged it at Exit, and there's other areas and other spaces where we feel like we could bring that technology to life to really simplify what our associates are doing each and every day. So, Steve, I don't know if you would add anything to that.
Yeah, so we didn't get a chance to talk about computer vision and how it's used for our associates, right? So one of the strategies inside Sam's Club is we want to make Sam's Club the best place to work. And that means you take away these mundane tasks that our associates have to do and automate those so that they can spend more time with the members. Because we've seen through NPSs, a member who's had an interaction with one of our associates is way more satisfied than one who hasn't, right? And so, but the ability for our associates to help the members as they shop through the club is dependent on what other things they have to do, right? And so we use a lot of computer vision internally today to make sure that they don't have to take, for example, do exception tasks for stocking. We are just launching this week, or we actually launched last week, RFID-based stocking that is basically scanning the tables to make sure that we have the right collection of items on the table. And if something is missing, we will create an exception list for somebody to take care of, which normally would have required somebody to always walk the table and take count of what's there before they could stock it back up. We do the same thing with reserves, what has to be dropped tonight, so that we have this floor ready for the next day's shopping, right? These are tasks that the associates have to do, but they don't necessarily directly do anything for a member other than make sure the item's there. But if we can free them up to be available to support the member, that's where we think the biggest value is. So computer vision and AI and automation is used both to improve member experience, but also to make sure that our associates have great jobs.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I'd like to say thanks for allowing me to skip the cafe line by using the app. That's been a handle.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, I think we're going to jump over to this mic, and then we'll come back to you. Yeah.
Hi, Dawn Lane. I'm a product manager. So you're collecting a lot of data as these folks are going through the line in their cart, where you're kind of getting to know their buying patterns. Mm-hmm. What are you guys going to do with that information?
we've always had that information, right? The reality is, if you buy something, we have all the transaction information, and we've always had that information. I think there have been some very eye-opening moments as we started to do this through computer vision. I'll use some examples, and I'm not sure if we know exactly what we'll do with some of this. Matt, you may have some thoughts on this. The reason why we're not able to give 100% friction-free for every single member is because sometimes the members actually don't use cards, right? They're just holding the item like this. It makes it very difficult for us to know that from a computer vision perspective. We've seen where two members shop together and they have items in the same cart, but they're on two different receipts and two different member IDs. Maybe sometimes they're shopping for the church and they're shopping for themselves, right? We didn't know that till we saw it. There are variations of all of those things, which kind of gives us an insight into how our members shop with us. Yep. At some point, I'm pretty sure this data would be available, useful. I'm not sure what we'll do right now, though.
Yeah. I think you said it, Ciby. I think we're always looking at how we can take this information that we're gathering and how we can meet the members' needs where they need to be met. And it's just a continuous journey for us, right? This is something that, each and every day inside of our club support building, and as we're touring clubs and as we're working in our clubhouse and we're looking at these new innovative experiences that we want to bring to life, it's how do we continue to meet the members' needs? And, that's something that we'll continue to focus on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got a funny story I'll just share real quick. It was one of the Dallas clubs, Web Chapel Club, and this was early in the launch. I happened to be in the Dallas area. I wanted to see how well this is going. So I stand there on the side watching, members going through, and I see a family with two kids and two kids in the cart, right? There's a kid on top of the cart and there's another kid at the bottom of the cart. I'm thinking there's no way this is going through. But they did actually get a friction-free exit. And I was like, oh, there's something wrong with the model. So we went back and we checked and it was pretty legit. So we will let kids check out too.
It's amazing. Great.
That's awesome.
Hi, thank you guys for your time. As an application analyst for Tyson Foods, I'm constantly in the role of asking myself, what risk is associated when rolling out new technologies? And so this was kind of answered with the previous question, but more so with the technology, with the AI, the computer vision, and the automation, what risk do you guys see coming out in the future?
So definitely there is a lot of laws that are coming out around AI, right? And we have to stay on top of it. Internally, we have people who spend a lot of time just looking at these things, making sure that even if the law isn't there, we understand the spirit of the law, right? Because I've seen this time and time again within Walmart. We're not trying to just meet the letter of what the law says, but we try to meet what the spirit of the law is. And so when you design systems, you have to be very careful about what the intent of some of these conversations are that's happening around you, right? What are the things that have to be protected? Privacy is obviously a concern. If you think about us taking, pictures as people walk out, we look at the cart and the items only. And that's on purpose because there's no reason for us to look at anything else, right? And these are things that you have to consider. And that's why having an experienced team with different people responsible for different aspects of a solution is so important because as an engineer, my team may not have visibility to all of those things. That is where Matt's team becomes so invaluable because they will have conversation with our lawyers, they'll have conversation with our privacy advocates, they'll have conversations with others to make sure that anything and everything that we do, we're doing it in a way that avoids these concerns and avoids these risks, right? So I think it's very important that you have a good view of who the various stakeholders are for the solution. Today, privacy, security, all these things are extremely important. Anything that you do from an AI perspective, especially if you're doing Gen AI, the concern is you could leak a lot of your internal information out into the world. And so you have to take into all of those things into consideration.
Thank you.
All right, yes, I'm going to go ahead and be that person. I'm so sorry. Let's give a round of applause, please, for Courtney, Matt, and Ciby.